NewstalkZB.
So what can we do to eliminate homelessness in our capital city? I've talked about it, San Francisco, a couple of times. I don't know whether you've been there lately, but people that I know that have been there lately reckon it's absolutely horrid. It's a horrid city to walk down because of the homelessness. Do you reckon that could happen in Wellington? I know our weather doesn't make that so exciting, but if we've got all our streets closed for cars, then they could make up little areas to sleep in, couldn't they? Travis, good morning.
Good morning, Nick. I think, well, first of all, I've actually lived on the street on and off for the last half of the last, say, 15 years. And I think it's an absolute fool's dream to think that you can end homelessness because, for example, in my situation, I didn't do it because I was hopeless or useless or an alcoholic or a drug addict. But the reality is a lot of people are like that. And the thing is, you would, with this bloating society we have, or this bloating population we have, without supporting infrastructure there and without adequate housing there, and with the price of housing just constantly going up, you're always going to end up with people on the street for varying reasons. So I think actually what you're talking about is not homelessness. What you're talking about is getting rid of people who appear homeless and who are begging and whatnot, because truth be told, most people never even knew I was living on the street because I would shower and clean clothes every day. And I did this not because I was, as I say, useless. And in fact, one time when I felt like I'm a bit done with sleeping outside here, I want to get a job, I sat on Lambton Quay with a sign asking for a job, and that day I had a job.
Tell us where did you used to sleep, Travis?
I can't tell you that, Nick, because
okay, all right.
If I told you that and I needed it ever again, then I wouldn't feel secure.
Absolutely. I mean, thanks for calling. I just love to hear your story, really. I mean, how secure did you feel when you were sleeping on the street?
So you get used to it.
Did you get scared?
I mean, I had a couple of good spots. There's a couple of different places I slept. I slept off Willis Street for a bit and down in Thornton for a bit. Those are mainly where the two main places where I slept. And you know what? I was on a mattress and I had a feather and down duvet and pillow every night. You know what I mean? Because I stored my stuff. So I'd just go into my storage, go get my stuff, and go and sleep.
What led you to it?
That's a few chapters worth of explanation, Nick.
I'd love to hear. I mean, I don't want your life story to, but what sort of made you first spend your first night on the streets?
Well, this is kind of how it happened. I came back from living in Sydney. I moved to Sydney when I was about just before I was 18, and came back when I was like 24, and came back to Auckland. And Auckland was a completely different place and an absolute horror story, and I hated it so much. So I threw my hands in the air and jumped on a bus with a suitcase down to Wellington, and here I am.
And you just had nowhere to stay when you came to Wellington.
Exactly right.
Yeah, so you said, I'll just live on the streets, and you found that it was okay.
No, what it was when I jumped on the bus with just the suitcase, I was just like, I don't care. I'll just go and I mean, if whatever's, I'll figure it out. No problem. Let's go.
Did anyone try and help you? Did anyone from the council or police or social services, was there anyone that sort of stopped and said, Travis, can we help you?
Well, like I said, most people didn't actually know that I was living on the street because I would shower and clean clothes most days. So, or rather I looked after myself. So, but I was engaged with DCM. I actually worked for DCM for a bit as well. And what I know through working for, and that's the Downtown Community Ministry, for those who don't know, organisation, the charitable organisation that helps homeless people, helps to support them and helps them into accommodation, and generally helps to, they can get food there and blankets and things like this.
What was that organisation called again, Travis? Because I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of it, Nick?
No, go again with it. I want to hear.
It's the Downtown Community Ministry. It's just off Manners Street. Down a little lane off Manners Street.
Wow. No, I hadn't heard of it. I excuse my ignorance. I
cannot believe that.
Yeah, excuse my ignorance. I had not heard about it, but now I'm going to go and have a look this afternoon.
There is support there, and the reality is that if people want to get off the street, they can. And as I say, I think there's a lot of misconception about why people live on the street, because I know from working for DCM there's a lot of people who have literally just drug and alcohol problems, and it's as simple as that, and just are in a position where they're in a hole that they can't get out of because there probably isn't enough support. And yes, sorry to say, but some people do need hand-holding to get out of the situations they're in.
Travis, can I just ask you, because I've got to go to news headlines and I'm really enjoying talking to you, but can I just ask you if you think that the council's plan to eliminate it completely is a dream?
Absolute fool's dream. Complete fool's dream. Because as I say, there's people that just need way more help, and like I said, it's just literally hand-holding. But there's always going to be people, as is my case, who just decide to live on the street for whatever reason. That's always going to happen. So what you need to do is be more specific about what you're talking about here. What you want is you want people who aren't begging on the street and who don't look like absolute. I don't know what I can use on the radio here, but people that don't look like shit, just who don't appear homeless being on the street. So it's a bit more, people don't want to see homeless people. And you know what? I loathe walking downtown quite often because of all the homeless people and beggars. I think it's horrendous. It's absolutely horrible. People are trying to sell this amazing city we have, and I love this city. But man, walk down the street any given day, walk through Courtney Place, Cuba Street area and stuff. It's
not
gross.
right. Yeah, and I do it every day. Travis, thank you for your call. It's
Thanks,
it was really nice to talk to you. Please call again and let's have more of a chat. And if you're ever around the streets and you see me, stop me and I'll buy you a coffee and we'll have a chat. Would love to catch up.
Thing.
What a great call, Travis. Lived on the street when he felt like it. Isn't it nice to hear those sides of stories? 25 minutes to 10. Basically, the Wellington City Council want a new plan. Tamitha Paul's in charge of creating it, and they want to have a plan to get rid of people living on the streets.